I'm Etzion Becker from Haifa, Israel. Today, the 30th of August 2025, as traditionally started a musical piece. We call it In the Forest of the King. We performed in Lower Galilee of Israel, or the Jezreel Valley, in Tzipori. Explained to you before. Again. I'm sharing musical piece. Show it again and again that there are 30, 40 individuals who succeed to work together with accord under the supervision of a conductor or conductress, Maestro Shiri Kahana. And she's quite thrilling. They are painfully to bring all of us 40 egos together, concentrated, being obedient and listening to each other. That's the only situation on earth which can be achieved, bringing us together. And this is just a vague hint of what a spiritual circus should be. So this is In the Forest of the King by some French composer.
But enjoyed it. I'm here hidden playing the bassoon. This is the first bassoon and the second bassoon, whatever. There's a piece, they call it the suite of old French folk songs by the composer Pierre La Plante, Plante, something like this. I think they using it in for some movies, maybe such things. I'm not sure, but maybe some jungle movies, etc. I didn't search too much, but to see again and again, well, I'm sharing it. First, it's fun to get started with fun. That's for sure. And second, to remind us, if you, dozens of individuals can work together, why can't we, spiritual people, work together and form spiritual circles? Why I keep on saying it? Because I'm the only one in this community and other communities speak again and again about spiritual circles. Just because, why is it? It's a life and death. Because there's no way whatsoever we can heal humanity without re-establishing spiritual cycles. Spiritual cycles eventually create what we call spiritual government. Last opportunity was the Master Moses, Abrahamic wave. Avatar Abraham came and set up the stage for creating a family of human beings who work together with love and fraternity. We know the story that the story didn't succeed. It ended up in a failure, unfortunately. And we, all spiritual people, all of us, have been participating in these efforts. And I hear all the time people are complaining about the world situation today, for example. And they don't understand that the set world situation is due to our past failures. So we cannot blame anyone. And the avatar comes again and again. He doesn't blame us. He knew that we are going to make it. There are only two options. Either we'll wipe out the entire humanity, as you say to Master Moses, I'm fed up with humanity. I'm erasing the whole thing, let a new start with you. And Moses said, on my dead body. We exist today because of the decision of Master Moses. If he won't say it, we won't be here. That's all of us will be in oblivion for billions of years, in acute suffering, unquenched suffering, or the suffering of the unfulfilled. It's a most horrible thing. So we live in a non-stop return. Whenever from the recorded history, we cannot stop the wars. So there are non-stop wars, the destruction, killing of each other. Goes back to, we don't know when it started. I discovered I searched the internet for the oldest murdered, and they found a broken skull. A person who was murdered, they broke his forehead with a pick.
450,000 years ago. That's the age of that skull, according to science. So we didn't start 3,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. We have been doing it for a long time. So when the fall of man has started, the axis of time, we don't know, maybe 20, 30 million ago. And the avatars are perfect masters. They come here again and again. They're holding this together for the sake of, to my understanding, even if once every 100 years, one person achieves the goal, it's another jewel in the crown of the Lord. That's the way I see it. The consciousness of the creation is expanding. So they're willing, the Godhead is willing to accept all this horrendous suffering of this creation, because everybody is suffering, all the individuals from it. We don't realize the suffering of all the elements from the mineral, plant, animal kingdoms. They're all in going backwards. They don't advance on the path of the suffering. We don't hear it. The entire planet, our mother, is suffering. You cannot, it's unimaginable, because we would go insane if you would hear it, the cry of the elements, or we humans suffer due to our own failures and karma, but they don't have karma, they don't have failures. We prevent them from advancing. This has been our role, and we refuse to do it. And we blame this politician, that politician. You don't need to blame anyone, but to reconcile the spiritual side. Baba speaks about this, and other masters did speak about this in the past 100 years or so, and it's not happening. And I don't see that Baba tried to create it too hard. The fact is, our dear Mandali left this sphere. There is no spiritual circle who continues after them. There are all kinds of boards of individuals who are running various institutions like Meher Center and Meherabad and all kinds of centers, physical centers on Earth. But no new spiritual messages are coming from anyone. As if the cosmos is dead, the cosmos is not dead. It's very alive. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to create spiritual energy. It's our failure, unfortunately. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm part of it. Baba was being practical. He wants us to succeed. He gave us this simple, strict order: just focus on me, ignore this world, don't get in. The worst thing is to get involved in politics. It's worse than indulging in fornication and all this. That's the worst type of sanskaras. It's a horrible thing. The many of us who call us Babylons cannot stop judging politicians. So you judge yourself to get enmeshed with most type of horrible sanskaras. It will cause you a setback. I keep on telling people this, so they laugh at my face. And this is the only tragedy they can see. The Baba said, 3/4 of the world gone, 90% all of us. This is a non-issue. Not a tragedy. It happens in the past. Pralaya is inevitable sooner or later when the time comes. So the tragedy is a phenomenon of the universe. But the person who comes after 12 billion years, the threshold of the avatar, and lunacy, that's, I can see the real tragedy. It makes Baba very, very, very sad, because I explained why I'm saying, because I experienced that he would feel experienced once his utter, I don't know what to explain, his deep grief over all those who lost it. And I got the message from him that most of my lovers are losing it. This is the only reason why I initiate all these series of sessions. But I have to tell you stories. You want to hear music, you have plenty of music. You want to hear stories, you have plenty of stories. That's the main reason why I'm sharing this. That's it. And due to the fact that I'm sharing with people who are friends of mine on Facebook, I can see it. Due to my training, Baba gave me personal training of dealing with sanskars. They presumably developed some sense when a person contracts unnatural sanskars and creates a pollen for himself. So presumably have some sensitivities about this. not because I'm so clever or advanced, but because he wanted me to have some the same feeling about this. He initiated it, not I. I could, what do I know? And I can see it. People are losing the game. I can see it. And I know who are the people because I share it with them. That's a real touch. It makes me really very sad. But here and there, I'm telling them, stop it, ignore what I'm saying. We know what we are doing. We were friends of Eruch. Who are you to tell us what to do? Tell them, Meir sent me personal letter. Don't get involved with politics. That's for you, not for us. They know what they're doing. Fine, go ahead. You want to get involved with all this, you want to go down the train, you want to lose this cycle, it's a free will zone. Do as you please. But I feel obliged that I have to share my experiences with the people. And at least one person whom I was sharing on Facebook, he said something about politics, and I responded. And he said, in response to my response, he said, I noticed your warning, and he never did it again. So I saved my skin before the Lord, because one day, sooner or later, all of us will go to the day of judgment. We have to give an account. It's going to be. If you call somebody else to lose this greatest event of all, this highest advent ever given from the beginning of creation. He wants to stay in his aura. And if you call somebody else to fail, it's not a failure, it's a sin against him. Don't want to, and already Master Yoshua warned us about this. If you call somebody to lose me, he's saying it in the gospel, sort of. You better tie a stone around your neck and drown yourself in the ocean. And this is a parable, of course, which most people don't understand. What's the parable? That you took all these unnatural sanskars, like a stone, and drown yourself in the ocean of illusion. That's what it is. That's what's happening in humanity. Humanity has decided to commit spiritual suicide. What's the fall of man? We want to go back to the beyond state. We learned it during the episodes with Master Moses, what the people decided. Generally, 99%, 95, 99% of humanity decided to go back, to cross back to the womb of the Godhead, to go backwards from the own point back to beyond. It's a non-state of nothingness, no responsibility, no consciousness. How wonderful, no responsibility. And some call it mukti. You are not going to, there's no such thing as mukti, there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. What that you get out of responsibility is only the beginning. So maybe you don't need, you reach matriculation, don't need this physical creation, but there's no such a thing as mukti. Forget about this. If I say it's my experience, I never will think about not mukti, not goddess, not skies, not place. I have no idea about it. I have no interest whatsoever. Okay, read a little bit of what, share a little bit of story of Genesis. Then I will show you that all what Baba has been telling us, all these explanations, everything is there. Let's see, Eden, all this. Marish, so we're talking about the story of Yosef. Just to go in retrospect a little bit, Lord Abraham, the avatar, the patriarch came, established a family. He had one son, two sons in the beginning. One was Isaac and Ishmael. Ishmael, the father of the Arabic nation. And Isaac gave birth to Jacob, two sons, Jacob and Esau. Again, we see there's a two pairs of this physical person and the spiritual person. They coming back again and again to serve the purpose, to heal humanity. First, we have to heal the situation of Cain and Abel. You know, so it's a story that Cain became jealous of his brother Hevel because the offering of Hevel was accepted to the Lord and his offering was not, so he killed his brother Hevel. And what I'm saying, there's actually something which is happening inside us as a our physical aspect takes over the spiritual aspect, and we decide that the physical gain of the world is the aim of creation. Having a wonderful house, have lots of treasures in our basement, beautiful wife, of beautiful women, as many women as possible, as many children, we'll have a wonderful kingdom, we'll rule the earth, etc., etc. And then eventually we die and everything goes down the drain. We see all these empires, all these human achievements go down the drain, everything becomes like dust, all a waste of time. The only thing, well, what is spiritual success is developing new states of consciousness. Now here we reached Yosef, is a son of Yaakov Israel. Yaakov or Jacob reached the state of Israel, which is called the realization. We spoke about this over sessions. The brothers became jealous of Yosef, wanted to murder him. Eventually they sold him to the Egyptians, and he came to Egypt as a slave. And what happened, because he was a visionary, he saw the mysteries of the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, had some strange dreams, and only Yosef managed to decipher the dreams because he was one with God. Then, there and then, all the spots, the king bade Yosef, the viceroy of Egypt, even without checking anything, if the predictions of Yosef are true or not. He removes the ring from his, which is a stamp, the seal of the king. You stamp the orders with a seal, and this is obligatory. If you refuse to comply, you have to be hanged. No second chance. Obey the orders. That's the kingdom. From the bottomless pit to the highest pinnacle, Yosef is brought at once from the bottom of the pit, from the lowest ebb to which a person may fall, to the very heights a person may reach during earthly life. From miserable and humiliated slave thrown to the garbage bin, he ascends, the viceroy of the mighty king Pharaoh. He is, in fact, the sole ruler, and according to him, all must obey. Pharaoh, who is the ruler of a mighty empire, rests in his palace and allows Yosef to run the empire as he sees fit. So much so that Yosef's personality had captured his entire being, that he had not the slightest doubt that the man before him would manage matters in the best way a human being could. And all this because Yosef not only did not collapse mentally and spiritually in the dungeon, but ascended there to the heights of consciousness that is possible for a human being in the physical plane on earth. He has risen to the level where the Spirit of God manifests through him on earth. Is what the Pharaoh and his courtiers witnessed. Yosef marries the daughter of the Egyptian priest Poti, thus becoming a member of a close and top secret fraternity of people with highest levels of knowledge about the planet and the cosmos that is possible to be achieved. The ancient Egyptians had vast knowledge that this day our scientists do not understand how they built their magnificent structures. It is puzzling how a person without any training and knowledge of administration, let alone the management of one of the largest empires in the world, suddenly becomes such a talented manager. In order to do this, we need to understand what membership in the circle of Yahweh Elohim is called the system that governs the world, which also can call the fraternity of the perfect masters, can render a person. Since we are eternal And whoever thinks we live only once, it is better for him or her to leave this book. Reaching the spiritual status that Yosef attained requires millions of years of arduous practice. The members of this circle are well trained in the art of cooperation. In Egypt, of course, there was an established system of government, officials, ministers, generals, every function that enabled the existence of such a complex human system. All Yosef had to do was to make sure everyone worked together in harmony. Cabinet meetings, he made sure that anyone listened to everyone and made the best decisions for the public interest. This is the reason for its success. It's his. I keep on finding mistakes. Doesn't matter. He acted as a conductor of the orchestra. I keep on bringing again and again the simile of the orchestra. The conductor is not obliged to play a musical instrument, but he has to be an expert in bringing the musicians to precise harmonic activity. Yosef was appointed to bring all the important people to work together, get together, at the minister meetings. Each person had to bring what he needed to bring, very precise and very pointed. They didn't have time to argue like our ministers. They're arguing, shouting at each other. You just have to enter our parliament discussions. Everybody's yelling at everybody. In the court of Yosef, nobody of these top generals was allowed to open his mouth without permission. If he said that, he had to be very precise, very pointed. Then everybody would take all the comments, put it together, and Yosef would stamp it. And that's it. That became a law. That's why he was so successful. He took all the ties and moved the topic together for perfection. And this he knew, there was no school on earth which can teach you. When the perfect master said, this was the perfect master taught him while he was in the dungeons. And we know from the former stories that wherever Yosef came as a slave, the person in charge would give him a full authority. He became the full authority of the dungeon. He was responsible for the prison. Again and again, he was given responsibility wherever he went. The people saw that he is extremely talented. They let him run the show. You see, the Torah is very detailed. In my opinion, it is not in Yosef's mind at all. He's aware that in fact he has to thank them. Oh, I missed something. Another puzzling issue, where did Potiphar and his evil wife go? The wife of Potiphar, who bought Yosef as a slave, wanted to make sex with him. She was seducing him, but Yosef was exceptionally good looking. He was irresistible. It was after his mother, who was like a reincarnation of a goddess. Yosef now had the opportunity to take revenge from his enemies. We see that the Torah is very detailed. In my opinion, it is not in Yosef's mind at all. He's aware that, in fact, he has to thank them. They were of means of forging and testing him. Had they not abused him, he would not have attained the lofty spiritual status he achieved. He could send an order, hang them. He did. It's not mentioned in the Torah, so he didn't do it. He didn't care. We'll see later on which spiritual status Yosef achieved. Such an understanding is beyond the comprehension of an ordinary person. Each person who comes to a position, first order thing, takes revenge of his opponents, he fires them. Yosef, what he does, the spiritual person, he takes his opponents, takes his enemy and transforms them. That's what the spiritual man does, not like just a way of heaven. The kind, the material man, is killing his enemies. You easily can see with has a Hevel consciousness and with a kind consciousness. That's very easy to see. These stories here, all these stories in Genesis tell us to decipher, to understand the spiritual differences, the states of consciousness of humanity, and everything is being said here in this book is currently apt to our present situation. If you look at behind the words or the straight words, it's applicable to these days. But the mentality of the humanity, when we became more smarter, we have to develop better all kinds of gadgets, but the states of consciousness didn't improve much. We remain the same as Baba called us talking animals. When Yaakov learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why you just keep looking at each other?" He continued. "I've heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die." He heard for what? Because he was a senior member of the Yahweh Elohim circle. From where he heard it. Nobody from Egypt came there. They will discuss another quite unusual story. How come Yosef, as a viceroy, didn't send, it was this extreme famine struck the entire Middle East. The archaeology discovers that the third day, so it did really happen. He could send convoys to his family in Canaan if he couldn't leave due to his duties. But he didn't do it. And there are very deep reasons why he didn't do it. The 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt, but Yaakov did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others, because he was afraid that harm might come to him. From his beloved wife, Rachel, or Rachel, is also a female sheep, if I'm not wrong, I think it is. The two sons, Joseph and Benjamin. So he didn't allow Benjamin to go also. That was his last souvenir from his wife. So Israel's sons were among those who went to buy grain, for the famine was in the land of Canaan also. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the one who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. Soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Spoke to them through an interpreter as if he didn't know Hebrew. "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied, "to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." In his dreams, he saw his brothers bowing to him. The brothers are coming to Egypt, and all they were bowing to Joseph. The dreams are coming true. "No, my lord," they answered, "your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies." "No," he said to them, "you have come to see where our land is unprotected." But they replied, "Your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." Joseph said to them, "It is just as I told you. You are spies, and this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Tell one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison, so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you're not, then surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." Well, what's happening here? That Joseph, I call him the first psychologist, He brings to the surface the dark layers of his brothers. He wants them to look at the mirror, and Yosef is a mirror of the spiritual band. The whole thing is, it's tragic because the whole attempt of rehabilitating humanity started on the left foot, as we call it. And he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Yosef said to them, "Do this, and you will live, for I see Elohim. If you're honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison, while the rest of you go and take grain back to your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified, and that you may not die." This they proceeded to do. They said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life. But he would not listen. That's why this distress has come upon us." Reuben replied, "Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must give an accounting for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph could understand them since he was using an interpreter. Turned away from them and began to weep. The last verse is actually the height of the Torah. Here Joseph is being revealed in his full spiritual status as a restorer of humanity. If you look deeply into his soul, there is not a hint of resentment towards his brothers. He loves them and misses them with all his heart. From the spiritual status he resides, he sees the world from end to end. He understands the need and reason for everything that has happened. He is actually grateful. Joseph is the ultimate leader, an exemplary man who should stand before anyone who seeks to be a leader. First, you have to undergo humiliation, be humble as sand, and then there is a possibility that you may serve the public impartially. There's hardly any such leader on earth, neither in our country nor in the world. What is Joseph crying about? The pangs of longing? Maybe. Because he is aware that his brothers are incapable of doing the inner work. And if they would fail to do so, the chance of mankind's restoration will be lost. Let's see how much you want to continue. He takes steps to get his brothers to acknowledge their actions and acts in order to bring about the necessary change. They get some clues, but don't actually understand what's going on. The harsh measures he takes towards his brothers are intended so that they begin to recognize their mental state. He acts in front of them as a mirror. Presumably, they have been suffering from pangs of remorse all these years, dining every day with their seemingly grieving father and not knowing what to do. What has been done cannot be rectified. How come the ruler of Egypt personally accepts some group of shepherds who are considered the spies in Egypt? They in Egypt, so people who are taking care of animals are very low class. You know, it's like the Bedouins. The Middle East, we don't like the Bedouins who are roaming around and giving troubles. Never mind, nothing personal. Did Joseph himself walk to distribute food to the masses, entering the land of Egypt to buy grains? During years of abundance, Joseph made sure to collect the surplus grain and other crops in huge warehouses built in the dry desert, where grain could be kept there for many years. Egypt, apparently, was the entire Middle East during the years of famine. The Hittites, the enemies of Egypt, appealed to Egypt for food supplies because they were starving. After this famine, the Hittites disappeared, actually. food caravans kept on leaving Egypt daily. Could Joseph send them to his father's house? He could have directed such a convoy to pass through the place where Yaakov and his family were residing, seemingly as food merchants, who just happened to pass by accidentally. Look at the above quote from the Torah. We see that Israel speaks from the position of Yaakov. But he hints to his sons, why are you worried? Behind these words, Israel is concealed. Was supposed to be to see behind the veil what is happening. The stories raise many puzzling questions. We can see that Yaakov reached the position of Israel as a God man or seven plane master, God realized. But his family doesn't know it. Doesn't know it. He doesn't reveal himself as omniscient. But we see from the stories behind the veil, actually he knows what's going on. He knows that his son Joseph was not murdered, and he was mourning all these years because he knew he was acting again as a mirror for his sons, that he actually broke the opportunity of rehabilitating humanity. They don't understand. The tribes, they don't understand at all. They didn't understand the lessons till the very end. And this is very tragic till these days. Okay, let's stop here. Tough stories, huh? It's all, Baba said, the book of, so it's true that Master Moses was 6 months, etc. Baba verified, amended all this. But he amended or not, I know my experience while writing this. I've been moving with his impulses and insights since he walked into my life. He made me write all this. So I should get involved with this. Okay, stop the recording. See you next week. Away.